do have some good things for you, of course. Hey, this is March 8th. This is webinar 208, I think, and we're glad you're here. I'm Gene Clabago.
I'm Roger Carroll on Daylight Savings Time.
It is Daylight Saving Time. Hey, I see Dave here. Oops, I'm sorry, but that's a little thing here. But what we're going to do now is, Raj, why don't you explain why we're going to do
I see you, Dave.
Why we're going to do
Okay.
what we're going to do tonight. And I'm going to let I don't know, do I need to give you the screen now? There's Dave. Hi, Dave. You are
that might
broadcast around the world.
That might be worth doing, Gene.
Okay. All right. Well, then
I'll say.
Let's do this. Okay. Where is my sharing? It won't share. Okay. Change presenter. And I'm going to make you the presenter, Raj. Okay. Okay.
I'm showing. Now, Dave, don't be afraid.
Okay. Yeah.
There. Now I'm sharing, Dave. There you are, sir. Good evening. I'm going to come back to my, where do I want to go? I'm just going to start something here. I don't want to scare people off. And let's explain what's going on here, at least in the first part of tonight's webinar.
Okay.
I'm just going to start a PowerPoint just to get something different on the screen, okay? Let's just go here and just leave that as it is. I strongly urge you to download both of tonight's handouts. One that I prepared, I want to show you. I have to get out of this to do this, just to show you what it looks like. And it kind of covers probably a lot more than we're going to actually get to tonight. What you're looking at is the webinar notes for tonight. Let me pull that up full screen here. And the overriding theme, if I could be so bold as to state there even is one, is about teaching remotely. Mainly because of where we are currently with all of the news and topics that are in the news, and people are preparing for different scenarios. Not unlike a webinar, which we can reach out to. In fact, I think, I don't know, we can have several thousand people in any one webinar presentation. That's one example of teaching remotely. And then if you've been part of our audiences for the last year or so, and way beyond even, this is what we're doing. We're teaching remotely. We're live right now, and then these sessions are recorded and can be replayed and can be found on our district website. And we might even get a chance to show you where that is, because of last week is an example of teaching remotely. Ed Maynard did a great job talking about Nearpod last week. And we had a lot of positive responses in the follow-up survey, so we thank you for that if you submitted one. But what we're talking about, again, overall, is teaching remotely. How we can reach our kids, reach our parents, reach out into the community, anytime we literally anytime we want to, or as part of our ongoing instructional overall package that we're delivering in the classroom. And we're then taking on one of those 4 C's of collaboration within the communication and so on. But there are a number of ways that you can reach out to your students. What I thought was going to be a fairly simple demonstration has turned out to be a little more complicated than I envisioned and was hoping to see. But within our Office 365 package that we have, that you all have, if you are a teacher in the district, you all have Office 365 accounts. Not everyone has signed in or activated their account, but you do have the Office 365 account. I think more and more people are at least taking a look at it and understanding what that looks like on the screen. Within Office 365 are the familiar tools of Word, PowerPoint, Excel. Okay, there are some other things. The biggie instructionally in Office 365, I'm going to bring us over there now. I want to go into my, you can see I've signed into my Office 365 account. And again, these are all of the applications, all the apps that are accessible to us and more. You know, on your screen, if you're there, you are familiar with this little setup of icons here. And then within Office 365, we have a very unique application called Teams. It has evolved over the last couple of years into a pretty powerful instructional tool, and we are throughout the district at various levels of making use of the Teams. I was at a meeting this week, and we had a presentation from two teachers at Niagara Falls High School, one a math teacher, one a science teacher, who were working collaboratively in a kind of a STEAM presentation, and showing what they were doing with some unique little devices called microbits. But they did mention that they use a Teams platform for sharing some of this information. You're on a webinar. This is a tool that the district subscribes to, pays for. Gene and I have been using for a few years now. You have a webinar-like tool within your grasp in Microsoft Teams. And I'm going to activate, it's already running somewhere on the background. I'm going to, let's see if this is safe. Over here, Dave, I apologize. Here you are again. In fact, you can go over to your devices if you like and turn off your camera if you want, or you can, very good. Okay. If you're familiar with Teams, you'll notice that you have over here your application bar, navigation bar, and I'm going to click on the Teams here. Right now, you notice the one that's active is the calendar. We are also presenting live a team meeting within our calendar. They call them meetings. I don't know if it's going to continue to use that term, but these are the different applications. I'm not going to go into each one of them because this is not really about it in general. We're just talking about the potential use of this one tool within Microsoft Teams. And you get there by using the application called Calendar. So I'm going to click on the calendar. And Gene, I don't know if you can, if I'm moving it around, if you can see that, let me know. I think I can see it. It says my microphone is muted.
Yes.
That's the microphone inside, thank you, inside the Teams application. But down here is actually just a calendar item. If you are familiar with Outlook Calendar or any kind of calendar program, probably, you know, your Google Calendar or the calendar on your smartphone and so on, you can see that you can go to any date and any time of the day within the date, and they're all close to, you know, like this in terms of setup. In the upper right-hand corner, you have a couple options. Now, within the calendar, you can create a meeting. Think of a meeting like the webinar you're in. It can be a live visual give and take exchange between two or more people. In fact, up to, at any one time, 250 people at a time. So let's be realistic, okay? Maybe high school principal might use this to have a meeting, a faculty meeting, or you could have department meetings, but more than likely within your classroom, or if you're a secondary teacher, you have 4, 5, possibly 6 different classes, and you could have meetings within those classes. And it's another way you could also differentiate within that, and so on. But it is as simple as picking a date anywhere in your calendar, and in the upper right hand corner here, you can schedule a new meeting, or you can meet on the fly, like right now, which is what we are trying to do within this little scheduled meeting right here. I scheduled a meeting from, I think it was 7:30 to 9 o'clock. If I click on, and I'm not sure what's going to happen here, Gene, so be ready. If I say meet now, it's going to give me a different interface. Now you're looking at my camera. And if I say join now, which I'm going to do, so we might have 2 meetings running at once here. I'm going to, yeah, I'm afraid.
Bye, Raj.
I'm going to now, I can go into this and invite people, and I'm going to invite Gene again. There's Gene Colbago. Notice what I'm doing. This functions over here on the right to all people in our organization. Niagara Falls City School District are in this directory. So I just invited Gene, and there he is. I'm going to invite Dave again. And Dave is online. He may be joining us again for a separate meeting. And I'm going to invite, we tried earlier with Matt. Okay. Jessica, since I've heard your voice, I'll invite you as well. And I can invite all of the people, anybody within our organization, just by starting to type in their names. Now, I'm getting some different messages and so on. Matt, looks like Matt has joined us. That's good. That's healthy. I'm glad that part worked. Matt, thank you. Okay. Again, and it turns out to be a fairly simple interface. You can, if you like, you can turn your cameras on and off. I can invite, well, I don't have the list in front of me, who else is in the webinar, Gene. I'll invite a couple more people. If you give me a name, Gene, from the webinar side of it, do you want to? I don't know all of the people.
I'm getting a lot of feedback here, Raj, but okay, so
I'm sorry. Okay, I probably need to. I'll mute that microphone.
Yeah, now you're good. That's so much better.
Okay, I muted the mic.
How about Laura? Laura Hood. We had her before.
Yeah, let's see if
Laura. I hope you don't mind being helping us out.
It's when I type your name in. I don't know. Can you see the people over here on the right on my screen, Gene? Where I'm typing in the names of the people to invite.
Okay. I'm sorry, Laura? My daughter's trying to join, but she's slowly loading, she says.
Okay. Well, indications are that Laura is here.
Yeah.
Matt, yeah. And let's see. How about Catherine Brooks? Is she in the audience?
Yes, I believe she was. Raj, go back to your spelling. You have C-A-R-H.
Well, she's got to change her name.
Close enough. Close enough.
Let's see. There we go. Send her an invitation. And you may be getting some indication on your computer. You might get an email, or a number of people we have asked if you weren't here with us earlier. Laura is leaving. It's indicating that you're available or not. It's as simple as, there's Matt. Matt, good evening. We can see your screen now. And let's, okay, but thank you for joining us. What I'd like to do is lead, and again, I'm just giving you a very quick overview of what's going on here. I'm going to go back into my screen. I'm going to click on the share button. And some people, I'm getting some feedback now from some different things.
Yeah, we have three
Okay.
meetings.
How many mics? That's right. We got 3 meetings going on.
Yeah.
Which is, and I don't know how to juggle, so this is impossible.
Yeah.
I can't juggle one ball. What I'm doing is I clicked on this little share button, and I hope you can see it. It just is a little toolbar here.
Where are we here? Okay, yeah, now I can see it. Yes, we can.
On the webinar, okay. I clicked on the share. It's a little up or down, and all it does is toggle down to what do you want to share, it's asking me. And I can browse, I can share any file on the fly. I can share PowerPoint presentations, you'll see a couple of them here. I can share my desktop window. I can share open programs on my desktop. I can share, if you were with us last week, with Ed Maynard in the Nearpod, they have a whiteboard option that everyone within the call or within the meeting, as they call it, can collaborate simultaneously on a whiteboard. And again, I can share a PowerPoint. So this is similar, probably in some respect, to what your experience has been within a webinar. Gene and I will share websites.
Yeah.
We'll share documents.
Yeah.
We'll share PowerPoints. So we can
show
videos and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And
okay.
Yeah. And strangely enough, Roger, I don't mean to interrupt. We were going to go over whiteboards tonight because they just updated them, and I think people will be excited with the new whiteboard.
Well, let me go into. I'll show you what the whiteboard looks like here.
Yeah, it's the online one. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
This is the whiteboard, and then all of you in the meeting now can't display content. There was a. Of course, there was a problem.
Yes, because of
Well, I say we overcame that. I thought earlier this week.
Well,
with sharing the whiteboard, but you're going to do something with a different whiteboard. We'll go back
with whiteboards, we'll go through that a lot more carefully. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it's a shareable, collaborative thing. You could do a number of things. The whiteboard, it can be with a math problem. You could start off with a math problem, and I don't know how to get out of this now. That's my problem.
Change presenter.
Well, maybe there's Matt, my microphone. Okay. Well, I know. Let me go back here and see what happens if I just simply hit the back arrow. Nope.
Okay.
I'm going back into my Teams. Oh, this is. Okay, Dave says he's seeing the whiteboard on his screen.
Really? I am not. I am seeing. Yeah. Okay. You're about to join this whiteboard. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, almost ready. It just may have been my machine.
Yeah, it's taking longer.
Sending it out. But what we can do then is over on the right side is the fairly common set of tools that you use with a standard whiteboard. Hello, Dave. That's hello from Dave. I'll go back and say hi. And then please, if you're in here, Matt, Laura, Jessica, you can sign. Okay, I'll go sign in, Gene, and you can take over, and it should show us your collaboration with you, with what you're adding to it. I see somebody down. Dave did a smiley face. I'll pick red. Okay, Gene, you want to do?
Well, yeah, I'm watching on the webinar, so I'm going to hold off.
Okay. But the thing is that we would all be sharing this particular screen in this what they call a meeting environment. The key is where we're going with this, hopefully at some point, is this is a way to have long distance meetings. If you, in fact, I think I referenced it in the handout, the remote teaching and learning in Office 365 is a link that will take you to about a 30-minute video that will take you through all of the steps of the things that I'm attempting here, and do it rather successfully because the fellow's a Microsoft employee. But I think there are only 4 or 5 countries in the world that do not allow access to an instant online or scheduled online meeting within Microsoft Teams. Every other nation, and there were hundreds listed, that are compatible with this. But within our classroom, again, if what happened or what could happen may happen, it's a way to communicate with students, families within the community. You can be at home doing this, they're at home receiving it just as you are right now, just like we do with the webinars. And it's a webinar type environment. And you already have the account. Now, we saw last week with Nearpod, the district has a specific number of licenses, and some of them are shareable, as we saw last week. But again, it's a little more proprietary in that respect with Nearpod, but it's also shareable and doable. Kids could carry on a lesson directed by the teacher that way, or here, these lessons are recorded. As I haven't turned on the record because I probably don't want to see it again, but at the upper part of my screen, you'll see a little button that will allow this whole conversation to be recorded automatically, and then at some point automatically available to participants in one of their channels, or not, that's not the right word here, in one of their applications on Microsoft Office 365, and the application is called Stream. Also within your 365 account, if you look over here, you'll see a little near the top, it's called Chat. Once a conversation or a meeting has been recorded, it shows up in the chat for that channel, for that team. So you could have different meetings and different videos and different, say if you wanted to start all up with the meeting and maybe send some instructions to students, so for one group of students versus another, or students can be collaborating and so on. So that's another, I think, really nice feature that allows you to, again, deliver some differentiated lesson planning and some assignments for students and so on. You can also share assignments, create assignments and share them in this application right here with in Teams and the meeting app. But it's really, in spite of all of the bumps in the road here, it is a fairly simple thing to be doing. This is your basic dashboard right here. I could turn my camera off, which means you wouldn't be seeing the nice curtains in the background. I have a microphone that I can turn on and off. I have it turned off because you're hearing me through your webinar, the webinar program. Hi, Matt. Thank you for ending. Here's another hi coming from Jean. Very good. And anyone else we've invited. And again, this could be a nice, useful tool if I say, you know, I want to do, okay, let's do a math problem here. Okay, equals 12. Okay, and then we could all, everybody could be trying to, or participating in creating a solution to this, and it could be anything. Like I said, we could be watching a PowerPoint presentation. We could be sharing a number of the other features and tools within our Office 365. I could build in, say, an assignment. That assignment might have a quick little check on understanding in the way of a Microsoft form and so on. But this is one and only one of a number of tools that we wanted to talk about that are part of in this conversation about doing some teaching remotely. We know in the whole coronavirus issue that's going on, school districts are closing down. School districts around the country are preparing to shut down. Miami is putting together, I think they said something like 100,000 laptops that they may distribute to students if they have to shut down school for a period of time. So there's a number of ways that that we can reach our students remotely. Okay, I got a message meeting. Okay, I'm getting stuff on my my phone as well. That's another interesting feature here, that any meeting that you create in any platform can be you can participate in it in any platform. If you had a Macintosh computer, you can still fully participate in a Teams meeting. You could do it with an iPad or an iPhone. You can do it with an Android device. You can do it on a desktop. You can do it on a laptop. All of those formats are automatically accounted for and accommodated in this environment. So it makes it pretty accessible. We have the conversation often in the district, well, what if our students don't have internet access at home? And that may well be the case for a good percentage of our population and the students in our class. Well, that's true. And I offer that's where maybe the smartphone would come in. I'd be willing to bet the percentage of students that have a smart cell phone at home is probably a smartphone. And there is a simple Teams app for the smartphone. You can modify, you can go into your whole Teams environment on your smartphone. I apologize for that. I've got an insistent cousin calling me. Gene, I want to back out of this for a second. I want to go to one of my office home here. And I wanted to, actually what I wanted to show is what's up next on the handout. Again, I urge you to download it. It's a PDF, so it should download straightforward. Print it out or just put it on your screen, and you can, these are all links. The video I've been talking about is this linkable here, Remote Teaching and Learning in Office 365. That will take you to a fairly good overview of the whole Office Teams meeting scenario. And again, it's very strong, and it'll show you how to do it. I urge you to play with it. Set up a team meeting, within your class or with a fellow teacher in your school, maybe after school for about 10 minutes. Say, I want to try something, and let's see how this works. But I would urge you to take a look at this video first. It's not, I guess it's sort of a step-by-step. It's what to do first, how to set it up, then what to do during the actual session itself, and so on. And then there's some more information here if we ever get to it. It would be, if we ever got to that stage, is okay, let's explain and bring this to the parents of our students and what they may need to provide to participate in this. It's another way, I mean, conceivably you could have parent conferences with this and so on. One of the things we talked about last week, actually basically all of it last week, was what Nearpod does for you in this same realm of teaching remotely, and that is the Nearpod. If you were with us last week, thank you. If you weren't and missed last week's presentation, on the handout is a link to the recorded video that Gene put up very quickly from last week's webinar, and you can watch the entire thing there and get a whole overview of Nearpod and so on, and get some ideas for its use there. And then if you're very interested and haven't done anything with Nearpod yet, I would get a hold of, suggest you get a hold of Ed Maynard, and he will come in and help you with that, getting off the ground with it as well. Another thing that we've talked about forever, it seems like forever, is Flipgrid. It is a tool built in, not built into, but kind of married to Microsoft and the Office 365 tools. And again, this can be done very simply, and it can be done remotely. You just send out a code, kind of like what happened last week in accessing Nearpod. You get a code, and then you get an opportunity to view and share a quick little video response that may be in response to an assignment. It may be a quick book report, or maybe a way, okay, you read something, now you want to summarize an article, and then you can respond back and forth. And this is really powerful. Again, all of these are links, so if you download it and open it up on your desktop, you'll be able to link to all of these resources. One that we've talked about briefly in the past is a utility called Seesaw. Seesaw will, I think it may be more popular. My daughter uses it with her kindergarten class, and it's a way to show parents quickly, oh, here's something that your child did, or they're working on a project together, or maybe they were reading a book aloud, or doing some kind of activity in the class, and it's a way of connecting with the home and showing what they did in class. But it has possibilities beyond that. Let's say if we're expected to do some distance and teaching some remotely. Another thing that, and we haven't talked about it in a while, is if you have a Twitter account, you can just simply, in your Twitter account, you want to tweet, create a hashtag for your name and your class. Mr. Carroll, English 9. That would be the hashtag, and then you would inform your parents and students that if they are on Twitter, they could search for that particular hashtag and get some specific information that you wanted to send out quickly. Maybe it was a reminder, do your vocabulary work, and so on. And one last little piece here that maybe you're aware of it, maybe you aren't, is an app that the city has been using, the city school district has been using for some time now. It's an app, it's a smartphone app, it's also an Android app, and it's a way to check your school district. You can check announcements at the particular schools and so on. I kind of skipped over this one here, and we haven't had a huge push on it this year in particular, is that every teacher in the district can have a class webpage. And yet there's a procedure for getting it and for setting it up, but it is fairly straightforward. They've enhanced the tool recently. So you can have a classroom webpage, and on that webpage can be some basic information about your class. It could be some resources that you refer to regularly within your class, but being that it's a web page from a phone or from a computer at home, kids can go into that, go to your page, get the basic information, maybe get some support work, maybe some favorite math websites, or some other resources. You could post assignments on it and so on. And that's already in existence. And every school has a teacher web pages page and a directory. And again, you're encouraged and welcome if you want to create a web page for yourself and for your class and just put some basic information on there. You can do that by contacting either me or Gene, and we'll get the ball rolling on that. It's something that we've done in the past in a one-to-one workshop, or we're more like a hands-on workshop where we would go step you through all the procedure for it, but it is fairly straightforward, and we could certainly help you with that. The app I don't know, Gene, if I want to quickly do a show of hands for people who have are familiar with the app or have downloaded the app onto their phone. You quickly raise your hand and I'll get an idea here. Okay, good. We're getting people. Okay, very good. Okay, I'll quickly show that. I think this is still working on my computer here. Let's
No,
see
it's
if I
not,
can.
Raj. I don't think so. It says start trial.
Are you looking at my?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're looking at my. Let me make this full screen. You're looking at my my smartphone, and there is the Niagara Falls School District app. And if you go into the directory, and again, you can download this from the App Store. It's free. You go into the directory and pick a school, and then you go to the website. And on the website, you look at the menu, you can go to teacher web pages. And here are the teachers that, well, these are not all active. I don't want to give that impression because a lot of the schools are simply using this as a directory of the teachers in the school. They may or may not have a functioning web page. I'm showing you this because you can go to my web page. It's there, and I've shown you this in the previously. So this is, again, this is all the free app, but it's another way to communicate. I mentioned that, well, if the family doesn't have access to the internet, they may have a smartphone available, or maybe everyone in the family has a smartphone. So, but they could get to your information here. Here is, it looks a lot different on a device here, but these are all the pages and sub pages that I have. And this is a collection of stuff about Microsoft Office 365. The last couple of weeks, we've been talking about different way of collecting information and so on. So this is another really nice tool that is available for you for free, really. And I think if the district was going to make a strong push for this. The app is here. If you go to your app store and you search on NFCSD, this is the app here. Download it, then you can open it up, and then you can again get familiar with it. Everything on our school district website is compatible with the app. It automatically adapts itself to whatever platform you're viewing the page on, and so on. So I want to just kind of wrap up this portion of it, Jane. I'd like to go through each one of these in a little bit more detail, but I think we need to go through maybe one at a time, kind of swallow this whole pill of what it may entail for us to teach remotely, if that's the case. But at the very least, you have a number of tools here where you can go beyond the walls of your classroom, or in the case that we saw even with Nearpod or Flipgrid, or even with Teams, within your classroom when you fully embrace the potential for some of those tools that we do have. By the next couple of weeks, and maybe by spring break, I think most of the district those who are behind in getting their classroom devices refreshed or replaced, you should have the latest and greatest touchscreen devices and so on for your students to use and take full advantage of the Office 365 environment. So Gene, I'd like some input from questions from anybody. Open the mic up. We could go back to
not that I see,
but I go back into our teams, and I can conclude the meeting here by hanging up. I'm going to come back to this when I can figure out how to invite people on the fly. I really want to thank you everybody for joining in. If you're still here, Matt and Jessica, Catherine, Laura, Dave especially, and Jean, you could have 250 of these good conversations going on if everything was working up to snuff here. But it is fairly straightforward. Again, you start with the calendar tool and you can just say meet now if you want to do this on the fly, as we did for that second meeting, or schedule a meeting and the people get an email invitation for that particular time in their calendar, and it would show up on your Outlook calendar once we get into Outlook as well. But you do have the calendar feature already in your Office 365 toolbox. Okay. And that's about it. I'm going to hang up on that meeting. And I'm getting lots of ringbacks in my ear that the hang up was successful. Okay. So there we are, Gene. I didn't even get to this, but that was the way to start where we're going to go. That you can PowerPoint, you can share files, you can do any number of things. And another nice feature that we really haven't gone into is that you can actually build in assignments. You can build in, you can rate the assignments like a test, and it automatically grades itself, much like you see when we use Microsoft Forms as well. So Gene, we can throw it back in your direction.
All right.
Are you okay?
Okay. Anyhow, well, you know, what I wanted to do, and well, we're going to have to, I guess, continue this conversation next week because, as Raj was saying, there are many ways to get in touch with our students and parents, and probably the best way is either through Teams or through a teacher website. And what I'd like to do real quickly, and I wish I had more, just show you a couple of quick things that you can do. First of all, as you can see, I've logged into my Office 365 online. And as Raj was saying before, in the meeting, he was talking about whiteboard, the whiteboard. We talked about that, a couple of years ago, maybe, and Microsoft has done a large upgrade with whiteboard. But I'd like to show you maybe how you can approach it. First of all, you'll see that I have it here in my apps. If you go into yours, you may not see it. Okay, and if you don't, you can either go to all apps, and hopefully we've updated things in our system so that it's here. Okay, I just dragged it in to show you that. And when you do that, it will come online very similar, in a similar way. I've got a couple here you're going to have to ignore. I'm just going to create a new one here to what Raj has. Now, my handout tonight has a couple of sites and some places where you can go to get some really good information on whiteboard. This is the basic whiteboard. The online whiteboard is not fully implemented yet. And as I was watching several of the videos, the first thing they said is download the app from the App Store. Let me show you. Because it is more fully, oh boy, I'm going to have a bunch of things to get rid of. By the way, this is the download that I have. There's a video here that I recommend very highly. There's some help and there's some tips and tricks. Really great. really great. But now, what you can do, boy, oh, okay, Raj, I think I've cleaned mine up too. If you simply go to the Microsoft Store and go up to search, type in Microsoft. I think I spelled it right. I didn't. And then whiteboard, you'll see that it'll pop up pretty quickly. Okay? And this is the one that you should download. Okay? I'm not sure whether you can do it on your school computers or not. Sometimes it allows you to download things from the store, sometimes it doesn't. But at home, it's very useful. You'll see mine says launch because I've downloaded it. Let me show you this, and you'll see that it has a lot more going for it. Okay? All right. Now, this is not it. This is the online one. Okay, let me go to one here. This is for, okay, there we are. This is what it looks like in the app. Now, the reason I say that it's much better here is that it has a number of things that you can do. Up in the right-hand corner, just real quickly, see there are some settings. Active pen, you'll see mine's turned off. That's because I have looked high and low and nobody has explained active pen to me yet. Okay, and even in the videos they don't explain it. But ink to shape is kind of cool. So if you go down to the bottom, you'll see this little thing at the bottom. Click on it and you'll get that same pen that you have. Let me just pick a pen and draw. Okay, that is what we call ink to shape. Okay, if you draw kind of a more or less a square, well, that's not a very good one, is it? That's not a good one. See, it will, okay. Anyhow, ink to shape, ink to table. It's got an ink to table. If you want a table, this is really hard with a mouse, and especially what I'm doing. Okay, if you draw a square, and if you draw a line all the way through it, it starts drawing a table for you. You can add, now what I recommend is you draw a line, notice it goes all the way through. It doesn't even have to be straight. Okay, and then you can start drawing lines and make your table. Okay, this is the whiteboard that they, what's nice about this object snapping, that just means that if you want to put an object, it'll help you line the objects up. But here's the big thing that they recommend in the videos. What's nice is you can create little, and I'll show you this in a minute, lessons on here by putting in pictures, documents, PowerPoints, whatever, and you can post it to teams very easily, okay? By just doing this, and it will just ask you which team you want to post it to, okay? See? I'm not going to do this right now because we're running short of time, but it'll post it to the teams, and you can post it right to your classes so they can either view it or whatever that they need to do, okay? If you're not liking a white background, you can click on the format the background, you can get colors, okay? What's very nice, I've made a mess here. If you want, you can get down to the eraser, click on the eraser, clear the canvas, get rid of all that stuff. Okay, now you can go to format background. What's nice is if you wanted to, let's get over here a little bit. For the lower grades, they have like big lines that you can write on, okay? Okay, and down below, you can do a number of different things. You have all of these pens, and if you don't see what you like, right click, and you'll see that you can add documents, paste things, you can add an image, you can add a note, you can add text, you can add PDF pages, and even more by clicking in here. You can add a Word document, PowerPoints, you can add so much into this. We don't have time to go through it all tonight, but that's a great little tool. And what's nice about it is, we go back here, notice this is the one I have. Notice it doesn't have a name. This is one thing that I find kind of strange. You cannot do this on the online whiteboard, but on this one, see the 3 dots? If you click on it, it'll say Untitled Whiteboard. You can click on that and then give it a name. I'll just call it Name. Okay, now it's called Name. And if you were to now, let's see if we can do this. I don't even know where I am. Where am I? Who am I? Nope, that's not it. Okay, if I go back here online, and in a few seconds, that will pop up in this one, okay? They're saved automatically. You don't have to worry about saving them, okay? So I wanted to show you that. It's a great tool, and you might want to download that thing, because if you go to YouTube, I recommend that you look for videos since last August, I would say, because that's when they really updated it, 1919 and 1920, and 1919. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind. 2019 and 2020. This one is the best that I've seen. There's some help here, and there's some that tricks and tricks will give you some really, really good ideas. Now, let me just show you one little trick that I did that you might like. Let me do this. Okay. Okay, that's a nice empty screen. I'm going to minimize that for a second. Here's something that you may not have known that you can do in PowerPoint. If you want to show the students how to do something, why not create a video for them? Huh? How do you do that? Very easily. I have a PowerPoint slide. Go up to where it says recording. See that right there? Click on recording. Notice this says screen recording. Click on screen recording, and a little control panel opens up. The first thing that you need to do is click on select area, okay? And once you select, I'm going to select the whole screen, okay? Okay. All right, now, where was my, oh, that's what I want. Okay. All right, now you can create a video very easily by clicking record. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to show people how to add 1 and 1. So the first thing that I want to do is go down here. I want to pick a pen. Okay, it's purple. It's all right. 1 plus, boy, I'm doing it with a mouse, so it's not very neat. 2, okay? Now, if I go up to the top, I can hit stop. And guess what? That video is, this is interesting. You can see my control panel from the webinar, is put right into the PowerPoint show, okay? This is a video, and if I clicked on this, I'm hearing the voice, okay? You'll see that it's the video. Now, you could, okay, you'll see the video, right? Okay, now you'll say, well, that's good, but that's a video inside a PowerPoint. I don't want a video. I want a video that I can put up on Teams or put on my webpage for students to watch so they can learn some. Okay, all you need to do is right click, okay, on the video. Notice here it says Save Media As. It will save the video wherever you want it as an MP4. Okay, and you can, I'm going to save it on my desktop, which I'll never be able to find because my desktop's so messy. And if I do this and download this again, this is done very quickly. Somewhere in this mess, I can't find it, of course, is a video called test or whatever I call it. There it is right there. And if I click on this, I now have okay. Okay, I'm going to close this off because we don't have much time. But this is an easy way of creating videos from the screen. And if you have a microphone, you can talk and it will record what you're saying as you're doing it. It did. You couldn't hear it. It was coming through my earphones. And save it. And you can, again, by right clicking on it and saving it as a media, you can save it as a video, an MP4, which is then you can then put on your website. You can put it into your Teams, into your files, into your assignments, and so forth and so on. So that is another good little tool that you can use while you're trying to create things and make it a little bit better for your students. And you might even want to do this in the class or have the kids do it. This is a pretty easy thing, so the kids could do that too. Create their own videos that they can then show other students. So it's a pretty easy little device, and it is like I say, it doesn't take any knowledge at all. Okay, I'm just going to close this off right now because we are getting to the end of the hour, end of the time, Raj. I have a lot more that I could do, but I do want to remind people of two things. First of all, do download those two uh, documents, the two handouts, the one Raj has and the one here. Do recommend you take a look at Whiteboard. I know I went through it super fast, but there's so much you can do with it, and it's been so updated. Oh, you know what, Raj? I forgot to show you the most important thing about White. If I can, what's nice? Let me go back here. If you have, notice I'm using the installed one. Let's see. The installed one from the store has a number of templates here, okay? And if you go down, one of the nice templates, some of these are, look at this, here's a KWL that the students can use, okay? And you know what's interesting about it? If you go up here in each of these blocks after you put stuff on and right click, notice what it has? They are building the immersive reader into the whiteboard just as well. And that's that tool that we've been talking about that Microsoft has been incorporating into all of their apps and tools, but it's also in the whiteboard as well. I didn't want to leave without that one, Raj, because that is I think that alone is a really big advancement too. So with that, boy, we've gone through a lot of stuff tonight. If there are any questions, any concerns, please let us know, because we would like to, help out in any way we can. In 1 hour, you'll be getting the thank you email for attending. Please open it up, do the survey, let us know what's happening. And next week, we'll try to answer some more questions, bring you some more tools, bring you some more apps that you might be able to use, and hopefully make things a little bit better. Raj, any last thoughts before we say goodnight?
No, boy, we covered a lot of ground. I'd like to encourage everyone to please take the follow-up survey. Let us know particularly what you're interested in, what we can expand on. We've talked about creating study groups and doing some things that just might deepen your understanding and knowledge and use of some of these tools, and that they're here for us. We have the luxury of a whole lot of possibilities technology-wise in this school district, and we really want to help you make use of them. So please let us know in the survey what you might be interested in.
Yeah, and in the questions, did you answer those questions about teams on home computers and things like that?
I did. Yes.
Okay, thank you, because
Yeah.
those are important questions. Hey, okay, and with that,
Yeah.
thank you very much for joining us. Have a good week, everybody, and we hope to see you next Sunday. Good night.
Yeah. Yes. Good night, everybody.